Hey folks, today I'm just going to do a little video on of just miscellaneous random facts. And I'm going to put out the disclaimer that I haven't fact-checked these facts, so I'm taking them at their word from this website called factslides.com. I'm also not going to say these are fun facts. I thumbed through some of them. I haven't looked at all these, of course. But I was kind of looking through some of the types of facts they have, and sometimes they're a little dark. So I'm not going to call them fun facts, although hopefully there'll not be anything here that'll ruin our relaxation. So with that, I'll just jump right in. So this first fact is Finland is the world's happiest country, according to the 2019 World Happiness Report. Vanilla beans are the product of the world's only fruit-producing orchid, the Vanilla planifolia. Little picture of a kitty. Cats display the same main attachment styles as babies and dogs, a study found. Until the early 19th century, Australia was best known as New Holland. More than 60% of U.S. smokers have unsuccessfully tried to stop smoking in the past year, a 2017 study found. Drinking more coffee may reduce risk of developing gallstones, a 2019 study found. But of course, with any positive, there can be some negatives. So some people can't drink coffee for other reasons, or at least can't drink the caffeine or have the caffeine. 20 prisoners were executed in the United States in 2019. People develop first impressions of you in a tenth of a second. The pressure to feel upbeat can make you feel downbeat. Embracing your darker moods is better in the long run, psychology researchers found. Millionaires who have earned their wealth are moderately happier than those who inherited it, a 2018 psychology study found. Childhood bullying can cause lifelong psychological damage, including depression, anxiety, social withdrawal, and severe trust issues. George Washington moved his slaves in and out of Pennsylvania every 6 months to avoid them taking advantage of a law whereby slaves residing in the state longer than that could claim freedom. Asteroid 5535 Anne Frank was named in Anne Frank's honor in 1995, after having been discovered in 1942. McDonald's buys about 2 billion eggs every year for their U.S. restaurants alone. One billion hours of video are watched on YouTube every day. Latin had about 800 obscene words. English has only about 20. People who eat dark chocolate are less likely to be depressed, a large study found. Well, that's good. Eat some more dark chocolate, I guess. A 2018 study of Hitler's teeth held in Moscow claims to prove he died after taking cyanide and shooting himself in the head in 1945. France still does not recognize North Korea, along with Japan and South Korea. Israel used piracy laws as the basis for prosecuting Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann. The fastest a dolphin can swim near the surface is 33.5 miles per hour, 54 kilometers per hour. Enrique Marco, a Catalan mechanic, was a prominent public face of Spanish survivors of the Holocaust for decades, until his story was revealed to be a lie. Netflix is responsible for 15% of global internet traffic. About 20% of the world's tech founders are immigrants, even though immigrants only make up about 4% of the world's population. In 1924, half the cars in the world were Fords. During Elvis Presley's childhood, the family often relied on help from neighbors and government food assistance. No one knows what Machu Picchu was used for, but some believe it was a royal estate or a secret ceremonial center. In 4 of the largest cities in the U.S., it's cheaper to rely on Uber than to own a car, a 2018 report found. Latin America is the most unequal region in the world. In 2014, the richest 10% of people in Latin America had amassed 71% of the nation's wealth. I have to look at how that compares to other countries. People who think their opinions are superior to others may be most prone to overestimating their relevant knowledge and ignoring chances to learn more, a study found. Germany had the highest numbers of asylum requests in 2015. there's a fly in here. I can hear it, but I can't see it. Michael Phelps considered suicide after the 2012 Summer Olympics. He started the Michael Phelps Foundation to help other people with mental illness. There's a baby called Netflix de Jesus Rodriguez Restrepo in Colombia. Or Colombia. Lightning hasn't, I think that's a typo. Lightning hasn't brought down a plane since 1963 due to careful engineering that lets the electric charge of a lightning bolt run through the plane and out of it. $22 million were earned by 7-year-old YouTube star Ryan from Toys Review in 2018. Drinking 6 or more coffees a day can increase your risk of heart disease by up to 22%. By 2018, the U.S. has 101 people who owe at least $1 million in federal student loans. Imagine that. For many Icelanders, World War II is actually known as the Blessed War because the country has the war to thank for its independence. When Steve Jobs was at his deathbed, he asked for 5 different oxygen masks so he could choose the one with the best design. Of course he did. The only road out of Equatorial Guinea on the mainland during the mandate of its first president was mined. If you want to learn about monsters and ghouls in real life, you can get a PhD in parapsychology at the University of Edinburgh. A picture of Loch Ness. Nearly 40% of the world lived under Marxist governments in the late 20th century. The national anthem of Ukraine is called "The Glory and the Freedom of Ukraine has not yet perished." In 1916, there was a proposed amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would put all acts of war to a national vote. Anyone voting yes would have to register as a volunteer for service in the Army. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Spinraza, a drug for spinal muscular atrophy, has a list price of $750,000. And IKEA in the Netherlands had to cancel their €1 breakfast special because it attracted too many customers and caused traffic jams on the highway. I can see that happening. All bran is only 87% bran. I like that one. General Electric is the only company remaining from the original Dow Jones Index of 1896. As global temperatures rise, flowers are emitting less scent. After just under a year in space, astronaut Scott Kelly's gene expression changed significantly, and it's different to his identical twin brother's DNA. By the end of 2019, Facebook had offices in 70 cities worldwide. One of the late Stephen Hawking's widely accepted theories is that black holes aren't black. Amazon's largest warehouse is the size of 17 American football fields. $770,000 people living in England cannot speak English well. A single human being's DNA contains as much information as 50 novels. All galaxies, regardless of size, rotate once every billion years. Dynamite was originally going to be called Nobel's Safety Powder. While filming The Wizard of Oz, 16-year-old Judy Garland was put on a diet of chicken soup, coffee, and 80 cigarettes a day. A report found that free weights at the gym have 362 times more bacteria than a toilet seat. That's not hard to believe at all. 1.9 million people were working for McDonald's in 2019 and its franchises around the world. When you first meet people, it is common to forget their names. A phenomenon called the next in line effect. This is because people are too worried about themselves and what they'll say next to focus on remembering the names of people they're introduced to. Google.org is the charitable arm of Google, committing about US $100 million in investments and grants to nonprofits annually. Until 1948, 7-Up contained lithium citrate, a mood stabilizer used to treat bipolar disorder. Actor Frankie Muniz suffers from long-term memory loss and doesn't remember being on Malcolm in the Middle. Wow. Pirates probably didn't wear eye patches because of a missing eye. It's much more likely that we're keeping one eye ready to see in darkness so that they could adjust quickly when going below deck. In the late Middle Ages, books were so valuable that libraries would chain them to the bookcases. This was widely practiced until the 18th century. The first woman to cycle around the world learned to ride a bike a few days before she set off. 87% of Brits believe their jobs are meaningless and do not contribute to the world. That's a lot. The Museum of Bread Culture in Ulm, Germany has a collection of over 18,000 objects, none of which is bread. When Czechoslovakia split, it split not only the country, but also the national anthem, which had verses both in Czech and Slovak languages. Three of the four members of Metallica divorced their wives during the recording of the Black Album due to its troubled production. On mobile alone, YouTube reaches more youngsters, 18 to 34-year-olds, in the U.S. than any TV network. A cyberchondriac is someone who scours the internet looking for details of their illness. Ah, there's a name for it now. Don't we all do that? Cologne was originally produced as protection against the plague. It was widely believed that bad-smelling air spread the disease. A study using MRI scans showed that the brains of people who exercise moderately look 10 years younger than those who don't. Installed in 1410, the world's oldest astronomical clock, still in operation, is in Prague. %90 of Korea's shamans are women. The world's most expensive perfume is Clive Christian No. 1, Passant Gardin. It costs $143,000 for 30 milliliters and comes in a flask studded with 2,000 diamonds. Scientists at the University of Alberta spent 7 years working out that human urine contains 3,079 different chemical compounds. Studies have suggested that losses are psychologically twice as powerful as gains. So winning $100 feels as good to us as losing 50 feels bad. %80 of mass shooters showed no interest in violent video games, a researcher found. Ben and Jerry learned how to make ice cream by taking a $5 correspondence course offered by Penn State because one of them couldn't get into medical school and the other couldn't sell enough pottery. Research has shown that dogs actually like the silly, high-pitched voice their owners use to talk to them. Dostoevsky wrote The Gambler to pay off his gambling debts. During the Cold War, President Ronald Reagan and Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev agreed to set aside their differences if the world was ever invaded by aliens. Sweden has a ski-through McDonald's. The film Jaws is based on a Peter Benchley novel. When he couldn't think of a title, his father suggested, "What's that noshin' on my leg?" Mantis shrimp's eyes are more evolved than those of humans. They have 4 times as many color receptors and can see UV visible and polarized light. One in 3 children can use a tablet before they can speak, a survey found. 66% of millennials in the U.S. have no money saved for retirement. Lin Qinglan is a deaf Taiwanese professional dancer and choreographer who feels the vibrations of music through wooden floors. The town of Dildo in Newfoundland has an annual festival, Dildo Days, which is led by their mascot, Captain Dildo. King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia was shocked when Queen Elizabeth II drove him around her estate, since women couldn't drive in his country. Catholics in Nicaragua who observe Lent by abstaining from meat make meals of armadillo or iguana instead. The record for the most Wimbledon titles is held by Professor Bernard Neal. He was croquet champion 38 times. Self-driving cars play Grand Theft Auto to learn how to drive better. In 1978, President Macias Nyirma changed Equatorial Guinea's national motto to "There is no other God than Macias Nyirma." I may not be pronouncing that right. More than 4 tons of old U.S. paper money is mulched into compost every single day. Kennedy means ugly head in Gaelic. You can get a stand-up comedy master's degree at the University of Kent. $1 million will only get you 16 square meters of prime property in Monaco, 22 square meters in Hong Kong, and 25 square meters in New York. Alexander the Great's army conquered the world while wearing armor made of linen that could stop any arrow made at the time. Norway's coat of arms has a lion depicted, although there are no lions in Norway. The oldest D20 dice was uncovered in Egypt and dates back around 30 BC. The 2 parts to the word helicopter are helico, meaning spiral, and pter, meaning one with wings like a pterodactyl. Do a few more. Then we'll call this the end of part 1. The cuckoo in the world's largest cuckoo clock weighs 330 pounds. The largest print photograph ever taken was 111 feet, 34 meters, wide and 32 feet, 9.8 meters high. In Bolivia, llama droppings are used to purify water. Slovenian-speaking babies learn the number 2 sooner than English-speaking babies. A fly is back. The term pipe dream is a reference to the insane dreams people have when smoking opium. Do 3 more. 8 men own the same wealth as the poorest half of the world. 8 men. MIT sends out college acceptance notices on Pi Day, 3/14. This will be the last one. It's the Man in Black. Before he was a famous musician, Johnny Cash was a military code breaker for the U.S. Air Force. So we'll call that the end of this set. I may do, if you like these videos, let me know. I can do more like this. We can call this part 1, or this could be the only one I do. So I hope you found it relaxing. And I'll see you soon.